interested because I know you've had some connection with Andrew Tate, and I saw Andrew Tate on Piers Morgan show the other day, and from what obviously he's reported as to me, and to what he says there, some of what you think he's saying is like, oh my God, it's really bad, and some of what he's saying was like, oh my God, this is absolutely the solution. Like, you know, he was like saying he like seems to intrinsically understand Tommy Robinson's problem with immigration and Muslims, but he happens to have converted to Islam, which I believe you've had some sort of.
We've spoken about it. Yeah, we've helped him with that. Yeah.
What's your story with Andrew Tate?
Nothing much. I mean, he converted to Islam.
Yeah.
And after that, we were in communication.
Yeah.
You know, we try and guide him a little bit with bits and bobs relating to Islam. But obviously,
you've met him person to person?
Yeah, we've done a podcast together.
Yeah. Sorry, I missed all that.
Yeah. We've done a podcast together and stuff. I mean, obviously, we don't agree with him. Okay.
No, I can tell. I can tell.
So that's a point. It's a point of tension. But for us as Muslims, people find this a bit odd from the outside. But if you have a fraternity with Islam, if you have become a Muslim, then you are still given kind of like the family treatment.
Yeah.
So although he's being lambasted and stuff by the Muslim
people
community,
want him to be a Muslim.
Right? Yeah. So I mean, we would never kind of like try and push someone away from being a Muslim or something like that.
Yeah.
So for us, it's not like a left issue or right issue, because Islam is not left wing and it's not right wing.
Yeah.
There are some aspects of leftist ideology which Islam maybe accepts, like the cosmopolitan stuff, the multiracial stuff, all that kind of thing. Yeah, all right. Acceptance and tolerance. Islam does have that. At the same time, there's a lot more maybe in the right, social conservatism, which Islam maybe would connect with as well. But in terms of people, on some issues, Muslims are more aligned with leftists, because like on the Palestine issue, I think there's a great alliance there.
Yeah.
And the right wing, obviously, you have the immigration issues and stuff like that. So we don't fit nicely within the left or right wing spectrum. We've got our own set of beliefs that we believe in. Do you see what I mean?
Yes.
What's your background? What do you believe in?
My background, I'm an old lefty, from the old days. I don't think I've ever changed my views since the 90s. I was sort of might be called like a festival lefty, maybe a rave culture lefty. Or something like
All right, can I ask you a question?
Go on.
Being what you are, if we're being totally honest, do you feel like you found purpose in life? Like objective purpose?
When I was filming, I thought I did. And I haven't done very much filming since, which is why this is something I'm particularly interested in.
Okay.
And so I start again,
See, the thing is, here's what we would say, right? We would say that unless you have an objective purpose in life, the fundamental questions about where you came from and what you're doing on this planet can never be answered. And if that's the case, you will live a purposeless existence, which will lead to depression and anxiety. Okay?
Oh, it has done.
It has done.
Yeah, but I think it's also led to solutions-based sort of attitude. And when I saw Andrew Tate speaking, and I thought what he was saying about Tommy Robinson, they both come from Luton. And I thought, if the three of you got together, you, Tommy Robinson, I know you tried down in front of Parliament. Yeah. And I saw Ali Dower, I saw his thing, he was supposed to be reading Tommy, and it was really, really good what he wrote. I'm not saying Ali Dower was great. Look, what he wrote himself was really, really good.
A big part of the problem is that people don't know what we're about. The Muslim community, they don't understand what Islam is in the first place.
Well, they don't understand what Tommy Robinson is about either, and they don't understand what Andrew Tate is about either.
Sure, but as we said, Andrew Tate embraced Islam, right?
Yes.
So Islam was something that Andrew Tate adopted.
Yes.
Do you understand? So the point I'm making to you here is that, going back to the conversation about purpose, right? Because you said something quite significant, but then you moved on to another. I think this is more.
Trying to interview you.
No. We can talk about that as well, but I think this is very important. Consider the following, right? You said that being a leftist and having this kind of laissez-faire attitude towards life and solutions-based, you called it, whatever, it's had its benefits, but it's also, you could argue, led to depression and anxiety, right?
Well, I think in the 90s, when we were all taking ecstasy, we really, really thought that everyone was going to get together and solve everything.
Yeah.
And then when things started to all fall to pieces and everything, we were like, oh my God, we can't take more drugs to solve this.
Exactly,
So instead, that's why I started.
Okay, let me ask you a question. You've done a lot of that, right? So
a bit. I used to film with Abu Hamza and Finsbury Park.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Let me ask you this question, right? When you were doing ecstasy, what were you trying to achieve? What was your purpose? What were you trying to do?
I suppose it's all about mind expansion, isn't it?
Okay.
And views of yourself and stuff.
For the purpose of what?
Social cohesion. I mean, it stopped football violence.
I get you. Sure. But what I'm saying is that why would you do that, for example? Why would you want to be? Why is it important to do social cohesion?
I don't know. Maybe we read Hunter S. Thompson, and we read things like that, and I think your first ecstasy hit or your first acid hit, you sort of feel like you're following something. It's almost rave became almost like a church.
But what are you looking for?
What now?
No, when you're doing that, what are you looking for?
Cohesion.
And okay, let's say you've achieved cohesion. Let's say you have achieved cohesion. Yeah. Now everyone's together.
Yeah.
Now what?
Well, this is the thing. A lot of people who take that they became quite apolitical. This is why I think the first rave revolution.
That's fine, but what does that achieve? What does it do for you when you're okay? Now you've got social cohesion. So what?
Social progression.
No, but the point I'm making to you is, look, the reason why this Socratic line of reasoning has a reason, right? Which is the following. What I'm trying to say to you is that whatever you're trying to do in your life, whatever feeling you're trying to achieve, human beings are meaning-making machines.
Yeah.
You, me, and everyone else.
Yeah.
Right? So what we're doing is we're trying to find meaning and purpose.
Yeah, I mean, what feels good inside us, mate? What feels like right inside?
But let me ask you a question. Is what feels good always what is right? Sometimes what can feel good can be wrong, right?
Yeah.
All right, so what I'm trying to say to you is that there comes a point where you have to ask yourself a fundamental question.
Yeah.
What is the purpose of life?
Yes.
Do you have an answer to this question? Have you thought about it?
Yeah, of course. Yeah. I used to be a Christian. I've been through all. I think rave was our rave culture, and a political rave culture was a purpose for a bit. Now, I don't know. That's why I started filming again.
So what I'm trying to say to you is the following, right?
Yeah.
In order to answer this fundamental, most important, this teleological question, you've got to ask yourself another preamble question, which is the following: where did you come from? What are you doing here, and where are you going? If you answer these three questions, 1, 2, and 3, the question of what is the purpose of life becomes easy to answer.
Yeah, but you may believe something, and then may you find out at the end of your life that it's wrong. I mean, sorry.
That's true. I mean,
I might have to edit things.
No, that's fine.
I was particularly answering about a particular question.
No, I understand what you're saying.
On to,
we can speak about that.
I spent 3 years.
But we can speak about both.
Filming Hamza's.
No, I get
friends.
that. I get it.
I've had a lot of this conversation.
I'm with you, but we can have that conversation that you want to have as well. But I'm just trying to have this conversation as well. I think it's very important for you and for me and for everyone else.
I can believe you.
All right. So look, the purpose of life. The question of what is the purpose of life? As I mentioned, there are 3 questions that if you answer them, it will answer this question. It will help you answer this question. The first question is, where did you come from? So let's try and answer this question. Where did the universe come from?
I don't know if anyone's got any idea.
Did it come from nothing?
No, at the end of our lives, we're all going to find out.
Okay, but could it come from nothing?
At the end of our lives, we're all going to find out.
Could something come from nothing?
My answer would be, I don't know. I wasn't
no
there.
idea.
No, that's fine. But can something come from nothing?
No idea.
All right, something.
0 plus 0 can't equal 1.
No
right, so
idea.
if you consider it.
No one's got any idea.
No, but how do you know that no one's got any idea?
Because I've talked a lot.
Is it possible that someone can have an idea?
No one's coming up with it yet. Yeah,
all right,
totally
so
possible.
let's entertain. Let's stand in the possibility. Let's entertain the possibility for a second, yeah?
I used to believe that Jesus and Christianity, Jesus died for my sins.
Sure.
And I totally believe that.
But let's what you call a logical disjuncture. Let's look at eliminatively all the possibilities and let's explore them. All right. So let's number 1. The universe, could it come from nothing? So what is nothing? It's the absence of something. Yeah. It's the absence of something. It's not a space. It's not an empty space. Nothing is the absence of something. It's 0.
Do you think you can prove something to me here?
I'm not proving.
No, but
what we're doing is this is like when you take ecstasy. Yeah. When you take ecstasy, you take the pill or whatever. Yeah. You take the pill, and then you just let your mind do the work. Right. So in a similar way, and you have to be open-minded.
Yeah.
Okay. What I'm saying is that right now, it's the same kind of experience, but it's only a bit more structured. You have to be open-minded, be sincere, think about it. All right? Because what we're trying to achieve here is purpose. What we're trying to find here is purpose. That's what we're trying to find. Do you get what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
Okay, so option A, could something come from nothing? 0 plus 0, could it ever equal 1? Could it?
I've no idea. I mean, like.
All right. If someone put a gun.
Quantum physics, people will have all sorts of arguments.
No, sure, but if someone put a gun to your head and said, look, here's a mathematical sum. Here's 0 plus 0. What does it equal? What are you going to put as the answer to that question?
0.
Okay. So me and you agree now then. So from nothing, nothing comes.
But we go past that and they go, who made God?
No, we're not talking about God anyway.
It goes on the same.
But no, I get what you're saying.
I've been on this one a
No,
long
I understand. But just
with a lot
entertain
of different Muslims.
the possibility for a second. Just entertain it. All right, 0 plus 0 equals what? 0. Someone put a gun to your head and said, look, if you get this wrong, we'll shoot you. Maybe a loved one. They'll say, if you get this answer wrong, we'll shoot them as well. Sorry to put you in that thought experiment. But let's say for a second. All right, 0 plus 0 equals 0. Fine. The universe could not have come from nothing, because from nothing, nothing comes, right? Okay, could the universe have created itself?
No idea.
Okay, well, think about it, right?
How would I know?
It's like a mother giving birth to herself. Can something exist and not exist at the same time?
Well, how would I know? I mean, something's happened, hasn't it?
Go on.
Quantum physics.
No, but consider the following. What I'm saying here is that can something exist and not exist at the same time?
According to quantum
Oh, that
physics,
is quantum physics, isn't it?
Tell me how in quantum physics this
But
works.
you're looking at it and then looking away, isn't it? Yeah.
Explain more.
Bell's theorem posits that for quantum physics to work, which it demonstrably does, there's only 3 mathematical ways to explain it.
Okay.
The actual theorem is like fucking may as well be free.
Yeah.
Pardon my language.
No, that's all right.
But there's only 3 possibilities.
Yeah.
One is that reality of the universe is a blind machine that's purely deterministic.
Okay.
Mathematically, that's very unlikely according to the theorem, but it's still possible. The second is that special relativity, physics, everything is wrong, which is impossible.
Okay.
There's something about
All right,
existing
so
if you're looking at.
let's entertain what you're saying for us. Go on.
Is that there are hidden variables.
Yeah.
And that does all the heavy lifting. There's
Sure.
something that can't be explained.
All right.
And
So
also quantum entanglement. Because
Sure.
things can exist in the same on the quantum level. They can
Right.
exist in the same
that place twice. Yeah, I've seen that. However, here's what I'm going to respond to that with. Yeah. You might have read Stephen Hawking's Brief History of Time.
I haven't actually.
All right, because you seem very educated, so that's why I said
I'm
that.
not educated, but I read a lot.
He's got a chapter.
Right.
Stephen Hawking's, the one that was.
Yeah.
He's got a chapter on time travel. Yeah, you might have seen that film Interstellar.
Jeffrey Epstein.
Have you seen Interstellar?
No.
There's a film called Interstellar where they go into in the future and stuff.
I don't watch films anymore.
Yeah, no problem. But I'm just saying there's a
you
film.
go.
Now, the idea of traveling into the future, Hawking says it's a possibility because all it is really what is time? It's distance over speed.
The dimension, yeah.
In terms of special relativity, that space-time continuum. So we're talking. It's really distance over time equals distance over speed. Yeah. So he says, yeah, it's possible to go into the future, but then he talks about going into the past, and he says that it's not possible to go into the past. And the reasoning he gives for that is that it will lead to contradictions. And the most famous one is called the grandfather paradox. I'm not sure if you've heard of it, right? Grandfather paradox is the following. Imagine now I go into a time machine. There was another film back in the day called Back in the Future. Yeah. What's that time? Back to the Future. Back to the Future. You go back into your past. Imagine now I meet my granddad. Yeah, and I kill him. Do you see the contradiction in that? If I kill him, I shouldn't exist. I shouldn't exist. Exactly. So grandfather paradoxes, people like Stephen Hawking and logicians across the board would agree it cannot happen because it leads to contradictions. Whatever axiom, because quantum physics depends on what you call axioms. Yeah, axioms are what you use as a starting point to actually understand the scientific process. Whatever axiom you're going to use to do quantum physics cannot contain a self-contradiction because whatever starts with a contradiction leads into a contradiction, and a contradiction is always false. In logic, by the way, in logic, from a contradiction anything follows. From a contradiction anything follows. So what I'm trying to say is that the idea of something existing and not existing at the same time is a logical impossibility. Whether or not quantum physicists decide that, okay, well, we don't have a theory of everything, which basically puts between the micro and the macro. So we go back to our logical disjuncture. We said option 1 was, could the universe come from nothing? And we said, we all agreed that nothing is the absence of something, and from nothing, nothing comes. 0 plus 0 equals 1. It's not possible. Number 2 is, can the universe create itself? Now, even if you say, well, I'm going to just throw the word quantum physics it's not enough to say quantum physics. I know, I'm gonna let you, but here's the point. So say if you say quantum physics, I'm gonna say that before you even talk about quantum physics, if you talk about the double slit experiment or any other experiment within quantum physics, you first have to demonstrate logically, a priori, how it's possible for a contradiction to exist. Because if you say that, okay, something can exist or not exist at the same time, you're not making just a point about physics, you're making a point about metaphysics. So you have to first, you have to prove it on a metaphysical level that there could be such a thing as a contradiction before you use quantum physics as some kind of saving grace, which it can't be. Do you see what I'm trying to say?
I do see what you're trying to say,
yeah.
Like, and that's the difficulty with quantum physics, because on the submolecular level, like, I'm getting this wrong, on the quantum level, the rules seem to change. Like the waveform, like the collapse waveform, something exists. It's both.
Double split experiment.
Yeah.
A wave and a particle.
The waveform, once it's been observed, the waveform collapses, and it makes it very difficult to. I mean, I feel like that two arguments are sort of leading to a similar place.
Here's what I'm going to say to you. No, but here's what I'm trying to say to you. There's a difference between a paradox and a contradiction. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so anyone will tell you quantum physics leads to a series of paradoxes. Okay. The difference between a paradox and a contradiction is that a paradox looks like a contradiction and it actually isn't. Whereas a contradiction is things which are opposite in every respect. That's the definition of a contradiction. Back in the day of Aristotle, that's how you define it. That something has to be in opposal form in every single respect, right? That is a logical impossibility. So even if one says that, okay, well, you got the double split experiment, you can have one particle at two different places at the same time. You can have Harry Potter actually happen in the quantum physics world.
Yeah.
Because you know how the guy went through the, 9 3/4? There was Harry Potter.
Platform.
He went through the platform.
Yeah.
In the quantum world, you can observe stuff like that. I'm not saying anything. I'm not even denying any of that. But I'm saying that these, from the macro level, they look like contradictions, but they're in fact what? Paradoxes. Physicists are looking for the theory of everything that will combine between what you see on the subatomic level and what you see on the physics level. But because of the volatility of physics, like back in the days when I used to study it, maybe 15, 16 years ago.
Tell you're better read than I am.
No, but I'm saying 15, 16 in school, the books have changed. String theory, everything is changing. So what I'm trying to say is, these are theories. Theories can never be used to attack a logical principle through which and by which everything can be explained. Like for example, Leibniz, who invented calculus, he said with two things you can explain everything in the world. He said the theory of non-contradiction and what you call the principle of sufficient reason. With these two things you can explain everything in the world. Without them you can explain nothing. Mathematics doesn't make sense, physics doesn't make sense, science doesn't make sense. If you remove the law of non-contradiction, nothing can make sense. Not any kind of science, not any kind of maths, not any kind of physics or whatever. Why I'm bringing this to the table is to show you that, okay, when we go back to the logical disjuncture, you've got option A. Option A is that, can something come out of nothing? We're saying no, because that's impossible. Can something create itself? But that will have to exist and not exist at the same time, which is a contradiction. So we're left with option 3. Yeah? You can have another option, which is the universe was always there. No, the universe was always there.
The third option I like from Bell's theorem is we don't bloody know yet.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
You're saying we don't know.
But I said that like ages ago.
Can I say something to you, bro?
Yeah.
Sorry,
By saying you don't know.
No, you carry on.
But when you make a statement of agnosticism, you're actually making a statement of knowledge.
Yeah, I suppose so.
So when you say, like for example, we don't know.
Knew something,
If you say we don't know, yeah, you're saying what we do know. So how do you know? So how do you know that we don't know? How do you know that we don't?
Speaker's corner and how?
Well, you want us to talk louder. You want us to talk louder. You want us to talk louder like in the old days when people all shouted at each other. Yeah, I know what you mean. I know what you mean. Yeah. I think you have got a point. No, you have got a point.
He's right. He's right.
He has got a point.
He's right. Anyway,
Sorry, we should shout. We should talk louder too.
So
he's got a point.
So going back to the point now.
We should be arguing.
Let's entertain a third idea for the sake of argument. Let's entertain that the universe was always there, even though Big Bang cosmology goes against it. For the sake of argument. Okay, if the universe was always there, what's generating it? Is it independent or is it dependent? So we go back to the question: would you agree that we exist in the universe?
Oh, I'm not certain.
Okay, so you don't agree that you exist?
I don't know. Well, like I said, I've got a lot of weird
Me too.
ideas.
Okay, no. If someone had a gun to your head,
You know Rene Descartes?
if someone had a gun to your head and said to you, look, if you answer this correctly, I'm going to shoot you.
The quantum immortality theories.
No, you won't. No, you won't try that. Because you would have tried it already.
Like point of crisis, you like. But I'm not certain. You know Rene Descartes. I think, therefore I am. I think a better way to put that would be I think that I think, therefore I think that I am.
You think you're a zombie? You think you're a
I
zombie?
don't know.
Can I? What's your name? What's your name?
My name's Pete. That
Pete.
was the name.
Pete and Dave, yeah.
David.
Can I say something?
Yeah.
Can I say something to you? I think there's something psychological going on here. Okay, bear with me for a second. Something psychological, which is that, is it that you don't know? Or is it that you want to not know? I'm asking you a question here, and think about it carefully.
Oh, I'd love to know.
No. Genuinely, do you care to know? Do you want to know? Like, here's what I'm saying to you right now. If I had an envelope, yeah, inside of it were the final answers about religion, about what your purpose is, whatever, would you open that envelope? Honest question.
Yeah, probably.
You'd want to know?
Yeah, probably. Why not?
Probably, but is it something that you really crave?
You'd want to know who wrote the envelope. Who
No, forget about that for now. Let's just. The thought experiment is for
Yeah,
sure.
why not?
Would you open
I open
it?
lots of doors.
Of course.
You want to open it?
We've opened lots.
All right.
of
Let's
doors.
say.
Maybe I'd wait till I was on my deathbed.
Okay. But let's say you open the envelope. Yeah. When you're opening the envelope, and it said, let's just for the sake of argument, say religion is true. Are you going to change your life?
Yeah, I'd be like, oh shit.
Yeah.
Would you change your life?
Yeah, I should imagine so. If you thought there was a big hell, then.
Okay. Let's assume now one more.
But I mean, hell is very much in people's imagination, isn't it?
No problem.
I mean, if you read the Quran, it says someone's tongue is going to be pulled out and things be stuck into them. It's someone's imagination, obviously, isn't it?
Okay.
You know that horror film with the guy's thing sticking out of his head?
Can I ask you a question?
Someone's imagination.
Someone's imagination, yeah? All right, let me ask you a question. Right now, I just spoke about quantum physics, right?
Yeah.
I said that quantum physics is like what? Harry Potter. Everyone here agreed. You agreed and you agreed. Have you ever?
I've got no idea.
No. Hold on. Doesn't matter. But the point is, you were using quantum physics as a means to prove a point, which means you must actually accept its credibility, right? Now here's the point. But hold on. It seems to me that the new age religion of people is not religion in the traditional sense of heaven and hell.
Yeah.
But it's something that no one has ever seen before. No one has seen a particle be in two places at the same time. No one's seen that. No one's seen a particle go through walls. No one's seen that.
But no one's concerned with it either.
No, but
very few people.
No, very people are concerned with it. What I'm trying to say is, we haven't seen it. It's in someone's what? Imagination. It is in someone's imagination.
I would say
but
so.
everyone accepts it as fact.
No.
A lot of them do. A lot of people accept it as fact. Would you accept?
Most people haven't even read it or understood it.
A lot of people accept it as fact. All right. The point is
Nobody understands.
the point I'm making is that the only difference between someone who accepts quantum physics as a legitimate enterprise and the equivalent of Harry Potter would be explicable inside of it versus religion is that you accept the authority of one and you don't accept the authority of the other. Do you see the point?
We're coming down to the appeal to authority. Like,
No, I'm just saying that you
have a certain amount of sympathy.
Yeah. Do you know what I mean? So you would have more respect for the authority of the quantum physicists than you do for example, founders of a religion. But if, for instance, there's evidence presented to you that these founders of religion have for their authority, then wouldn't it make sense to accept their version of events, even if it sounds mythical, even if it sounds like someone's imagination, in the same way as you would with quantum physics?
If I was into accepting anyone's point of anything, I mean, that wasn't, like I say, like all this is way off of what I came here to talk to you about, which was the cohesion which is going on in England.
We'll talk about
at the moment.
We can talk about that as well.
Stuff which has been happening over the last few weeks.
No, you're right.
Over the last few
we'll
years.
talk about this, but I'm just saying.
You know what I mean?
I know.
And I was particularly interested
in
particular subjects to do with people who are alive now.
We'll talk about this.
Yeah, right.
But I'm just trying to talk about something else.
You can talk to him about that when you do it.
No,
you carry on. It's all right.
Here's the point I'm making with you right now. Yeah. When you look at the options of how we came to exist, remember we said the following. Let's just go back.
Yeah.
We said that. Do you not agree that the purpose of life is a question that is worthy of answering?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
So then we said there's 3 questions that would help us answer that question. The first one is, how did we get here? Number 2 is what we're doing here, and number 3 is where we're going. And we were on number 1, and you would accept now that we've looked at the other alternatives, that the universe came from nothing, the universe created itself, that the universe was always there, and it doesn't have a sufficient response for why you have a universe with all this energy inside of it. You see? So now we're at the point there. Does it make sense to say that there was an entity outside of the universe that has brought forth the universe and is keeping the universe in existence?
Turtles all the way down, man.
Okay, what is another explanation?
Turtles all the way down.
Oh, you don't have one? Because
turtles all the way down is
the point. But here's what I'm trying to say to you, right? If you look at eliminatively, if you look at all the possibilities of how we could have gotten here, there is no better explanation than that there's a necessary being, an independent being that brought forth everything that exists in
you.
No, I'm saying in general.
To you.
You'd have to bring forth another one.
To you. You understand that. And,
okay.
And for me, it's just as likely, but nothing.
No, but you just said that nothing. If someone had a gun to your head, and someone said, "Does 0 + 0 = 1?"
But like then.
Do you get it?
Maybe I don't understand nothing. Maybe nothing is bigger than me. Like, you know what I mean?
No, but what I'm trying to say to you is, it's not to. You're saying this to me. I'm saying it's not to me. I'm saying if we look eliminatively, in general, if you think logically about all the options that the universe came from nothing, the universe created itself.
Yeah.
That the universe was always there in an independent way. Yeah. All these options are not plausible, which leaves us with only one option, which is something other than the universe brought into existence the universe and is maintaining the universe.
And what brought that into existence?
So if we do that, that's a good question. Now if we do that, if we say what brought that into existence, we'd have an infinite regress.
Turtles all the way down.
If we have an infinite regress of causation, then we would never get to a point where we are now.
But we won't know, will we, until we die, will we?
No, I'm just saying, I'm entertaining his question.
If you die and you find out, oh wow, nothing actually came from nothing.
How do you know that we don't know? Okay, can you prove that we don't know?
Well, yeah, because no one. It seems to be all according to perspective, isn't it? Your perspective.
No.
People seem very, very certain of things, don't they? And they later in life they go, what on earth was that all about?
No, but how do you know that we don't know the answers to this question? How do you know that?
Well, I don't know that either. I mean.
So you don't know that?
Well, no one knows that, do they? I mean,
no. Hold on. Because you just said
we either came from a creator or we came from nothing.
No, we just said we come from nothing is not an option. We just explored that.
Well, you think it's not an option.
You said it as
Maybe
well.
There's some sort of magic which it comes from or something.
Magic.
Something beyond what we understand or something.
Okay. Magic is supernatural. Magic is supernatural.
The earliest texts say that got made by Anunnaki, didn't they? The earliest text, what the Bible was mostly ripped off from.
We're not talking about.
Say we were made by aliens. I can't remember.
We're not talking about human beings here.
He made us.
But Dave, we're not.
If you look at the original Genesis, it says that you will become like one of us.
Dave, I'm not talking. But Dave, listen.
And then take all the plurals out of the Bible.
But Dave, I'm not talking about human being or human life here. I'm talking about the universe.
Who made the aliens that made us?
I'm talking about the universe.
Yeah.
Yeah? So I'm not talking about human life because that's just we're a slither of...
I don't think I'm going to know.
So now you see there's a shift in your articulation. Because before you said we don't know, now you're saying I don't know. Then you said I don't know that we don't know. All right. Here's what I'm trying to say to you is you still haven't decided whether it's possible to know.
Yeah, no.
Is it so? You have to first decide whether it's possible. Is it possible to know?
I don't.
Okay, so in that case, if you say you don't know, you understand. Okay, do you know that you don't know?
I don't know that I don't know that I don't.
So you can't really make it. So you understand that this cop out.
I'm a pure agnostic.
No, hold on. Even agnosticism is a statement of knowledge. If you're saying I don't know, you're still making a statement of knowledge. Is it that you don't know or that we don't know?
In England, there's a point where it kind of becomes sophistry and its limitations.
Is it? No, but let me ask you a question.
What's sophistry?
The art of winning a debate rather than the art of finding.
But
the truth.
Pete,
Yeah,
Pete,
You know, I could
Pete,
say, like,
Pete,
you know,
Yeah.
Pete.
to sum up sophistry, you know the old atheist argument that like, oh, God's omnipotent, he's all powerful. Okay, accept that. So can he create something that's more powerful than he is? If he can't, then he's not all powerful, and if he can, then he's not all powerful.
That was
But
in
that's sophistry.
Aladdin.
Okay, all right.
Is it?
Yeah, that's in Aladdin.
Jeez, I can't believe I'm
He makes
bloody
a genie.
getting
Can you make something
philosophy
more
from
powerful
Aladdin.
than the
All right,
genie? Yeah,
listen,
yeah.
Listen.
Yeah, that's I consider
Pete,
that sophistry.
okay.
But
Whether it is or not, it's irrelevant right now. Because what we're saying is this. You started off by saying, we don't know. Then he said, I don't know.
I don't know.
Then I asked him, do you know that we don't know? He said, I don't know that we don't know. Which means really, the answer of I don't know, the agnostic answer, is not serving your purpose at the moment. Because what you're, can I tell?
pretend to
It
know.
couldn't be the case. Could it be the
I can't
case? Could
pretend
it be? Could it be the case that you are using agnosticism as a psychological barrier? Yeah, you're trying to put wedge that between you and investigation because you're afraid to know. Could it be that you're afraid to know?
I don't think so.
But are you sure? Or do you not know?
Sure about very little, but I don't think so.
Are you afraid to know?
Say again?
Are you afraid to know?
No.
Or you know that?
I think that.
But you're not a pure agnostic if you know that.
Okay, I'll think that. The spur of the moment, I said I agreed in the affirmative.
You have to go by what makes sense to you, don't you?
Okay, no, I understand. But here's the question. Is your agnosticism specific to you, or is it that we cannot know?
I suspect that none of us are ever going to know.
You suspect it, but are you sure?
Yeah, I have no beliefs.
But are you sure not? Are you sure that we can't know?
I'm not sure about anything.
Excellent, beautiful. So then we have to entertain the logical possibilities. Because since you don't know, like for example, sorry to put it this way, and I like both of you,
No, it's cool.
but not knowing is ignorance.
Sorry, say again?
Not knowing is another word for it, not agnostic, but another word for it is ignorance.
Yeah.
All right. So if we're ignorant about a situation, then there's no way that you can have something to say about it, really.
Yeah, we aren't saying anything.
Okay, good. So here's the point. If you're ignorant, there's either you want to seek knowledge about it or not. Do you want to seek knowledge about it or not?
I seek knowledge about it all the time. Yeah, I look
Living,
into things all the time.
the act of living is like seeking knowledge.
Yeah.
If you off yourself,
No.
then you're no longer
But
seeking
we're
knowledge.
asking a very specific question of how do we get here?
But I'm
Okay.
being awkward moving the goalposts.
No, but yeah, moving the goalpost. What I'm trying to say is that moving the goalpost ain't working here because what it is that it's only revealing a psychological bias. It's only because you started off by saying, I don't know. We don't know. I don't know that I don't know.
Right.
Your knowledge towards agnosticism has shifted 4 times in this discussion, both of you.
You seem like
Which-
a man
No,
who's
it's
sure.
still the same. It's still basically the same, isn't it? I
How?
haven't changed my views
No,
at all.
let me ask you a
while
question.
we've been standing here.
Can we know? Can we know?
I can't help you.
Can we know about where we came from?
I can't help you. I've got no information on that subject.
Can we know?
Can we infer?
No, can we know?
I've got no information on that. Have I?
But can we know?
I've got no idea.
So you don't know that we can know, if we can know or not.
See, this is just word games, and now I come to talk to you about something completely different, and it doesn't matter. Like, we can just forget about it. Don't worry.
That's just-
You guys have an interesting conversation about. I was
Can we
actually
know?
coming to talk about what is happening in the UK at the moment.
We can talk
Never
about
mind.
that. We can
I thought you guys had an interesting conversation about quantum physics
Sorry,
and
Dave,
whether you
I
know.
feel like
No,
I've
mate,
been-
it's fine. It's fine. It's fine. No, it's fine. Don't worry about
It's
it.
okay.
Is the
It's
position of not
Let's
being
just,
justified?
yeah, thanks.
I
Don't worry.
realise a bit out of my depth. You're
No,
a good
you're all right.
rhetorician.
No, you're all right. You're
No,
fine. You're fine.
it's okay.
I just thought it's really important because there's shit going on.
We
in
could
the
okay,
country.
talk about it.
Yeah, I'm really interested. What's the main purpose of these people who are fighting each
Suppose there is a
other? What is the
logic
main
from where
purpose?
something
How are you
can
going to address it in reality? Like in reality.
Anyway, I'm just gonna get a drink of water or something.
I think.
I'll see you later.
It's nice to meet you, man.
Oh, you got that, yeah? Subhanallah. Straight.
It's just like
Alright,
it's all
I'll
going
see
on
you.
at the moment. It's happening now.
How are you?
زي الحين
Good to see you, man. Inshallah.
later on ان شاء الله اعطيني اوتوغراف من عندك كيف الاحوال؟
الحمد لله.
الأولاد.
الحمد لله.
الله يحفظك يا محمد.